So feel free to just break through, alert someone if you have a question, comment, or concern. Hebrews chapter 7. What I want us to do today is I want us to read, because this is a good lesson too. I want us to read, of course, our text, but also read the Genesis text from which the writer pulls from in Genesis chapter, chapter 14, verses 17 through 20. Let's go there first and read that. I'll need a reader again. Somebody want to read? Somebody want to read? The first one is Genesis. I want to read the Genesis text, Genesis 14, and just get a picture of that, and then we'll go to the Hebrews text. So, but I need a reader. I need a reader. You gonna read? All right, gotta read. Genesis 14, and we want 17 through, 24? And the context is, if you go back up and read the early part of the chapter, Abraham goes on a rescue mission, if you will, to rescue Lot from a few of the kings, and so he is. God has been with him as he rescues Lot, and so he's returning from this conquest. He's returning from this rescue mission, where we pick up the text, where we're introduced to someone that the Hebrews writer wants us to see. So, go ahead, read it, verse 14.
Genesis 14:17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of the, I don't know that word, Chaldoroim,
Okay.
and the kings that were with him at the valley of Sheva, which is the king's dell. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have lift up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latch, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abraham rich. Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me. Aner, Eshcol, and Mari, let them take their portion. Continue.
No, that's fine. So this is, again, Abraham is returning from his conquest, and he meets Melchizedek. And the writer says, again, the king of Salem brought out bread and wine. He was a priest of the Most High God, and he blessed Abraham. That's going to be important. He blessed Abraham, right? And he blessed him, gave him a blessing, right? And then Abraham gave him a tenth, a tenth of everything. So we know, as we're going to see, and as even before here, of course, God calls Abraham, and he charges him, he sends him to leave his home and to go to this place where God is going to show him. And then Abraham and Lot separate. And so God, even before here, tells Abraham how great he's going to be, and how great his descendants are going to be, and how they're going to bless bless the earth. And so Abraham is great. But Abraham meets this king mysteriously, and the king blesses Abraham. And Abraham, on return, gives him a tent. He gives him. This is Father Abraham. This is the great Abraham, okay, giving a tenth of his possessions to the greater one, which is Melchizedek. Okay, that's what the Hebrews writer wants us just to see begin there. So let's go to Hebrews now. Go to the Hebrews text, and he's going to expound upon what we just read there in Ephesians, in Genesis. So go to chapter 7, and I guess you have the mic, so you have to read.
For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, to whom also Abraham gave a tenth part of all, first being by interpretation king of righteousness, and after also king of Salem, which is king of peace. Without father, without mother, without the descendants, having neither beginning of days nor the end of life, but made like unto the Son of God, abideth priest continually. And consider how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham gave the tenth of the spoils. And verily they that of the sons of Levi, who received the office of the priesthood, gave a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is, and of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. But he whose descendants is not counted from them receiveth tithes of Abraham, and blessed him that had the promises. And without all the contradiction, the less is blessed of the better.
Keep going.
And here the men that die receive tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witnessed that he liveth. And as I may so say, Levi also, who receiveth tithes, paid tithes unto Abraham. For he was yet in the loins of his father when Melchizedek met him. I therefore perfection wore by the Levitical priesthood, for under it the people received the law. What further need was there that another priest should rise and after the order of Melchizedek, and not be called after the order of Aaron? For the priesthood being changed, there is made of necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom these things were spoken pertaineth to a tribe, of whom no man gave attendance at the altar. For it is the evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. And it is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek there ariseth another priest, who is made not after the law of carnal commandment, but after the power of the eternal endless life. For he testifieth, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is really a disannulling of the commandment going before the weakness and unprofitable thereof. For the law make nothing perfect, but bringeth in a better hope did, by which we draw nigh unto God. And as much as not without an oath he has made priest. For those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, the Lord swear and will not repent. There are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. But so much was Jesus made surety of a better testament. And they truly were made priests because they were not suffered to continue by reason of death. But this man, because he continueth ever, have an unchanging priesthood. 25. Wherefore he is able also to save them to uttermost that come unto God by him, seeing he ever liveth, and to make intercession for them.
Mercy and grace. Wow. That story, this account, it's just amazing on so many levels. When you look at, of course, the Hebrews writer is again teaching and instructing, preaching the superiority of Christ, and of course, Christianity, and how Christ is superior, all right, and to these Hebrews who were learned, they were educated, they were still kind of dull, but still they were familiar with, of course, Abraham and Melchizedek, and how Father Abraham, blessed Abraham, the friend of God, hero of the faith, was blessed by another who was greater than he, and how he appears out of nowhere, so to speak. The Bible is, when you look at, you read throughout the Bible is big on genealogy, right? Matthew 1 starts with the genealogy of Jesus, and then in other places you have the genealogy, going back to Genesis and even, throughout the writings, the Chronicles, all right, because people want to know, they want to know where you're from. They want to know who your blood is. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac begat Jacob. Jacob begat Judah and his brethren, and all of that. Remember when we were studying in those on Wednesday night in Nehemiah, and a few of those chapters were just lists of names, right? And there was one or two parts where certain ones, they weren't able to find their names. They weren't able to prove that they were a part of the nation, and so they were not counted, I think, among the Levites, because they couldn't prove it. All right, and so we see the importance of genealogy in the mindset of the Hebrews. All right, but here, because even with the priest had to come through a certain line. They had to come through the line of Aaron, right? The Levites came through that line, right? You couldn't be a high priest or priest if you were not a Levite, all right? And Christ comes from the tribe of Judah, all right? I think he mentions that in our text here. And so them knowing that and understanding that, but here again, Abraham, the father of faith, the father of the nation, all right, is being blessed by this great king priest, right? And he blessed him and gave him a tenth. And it says through his loins, Levi, and Aaron, they blessed him as well. They weren't born yet, but still, the Levites who received the tithe, all right, gave a tithe, and it's boy. And so he's likening Christ to Melchizedek. All right, a priest after the order of Melchizedek. So again, more evidence. He's bringing this point home again. He's laid the foundation. He's explaining. He's expounding. He's exploring again how great Christ is, above Moses and above Aaron and above his priesthood. All right, and they could understand that Abraham was blessed by someone greater than him. And so now Christ comes on the scene, and so Christ is now, again, on the order of Melchizedek, who has the power, who has the authority, to bless, all right? Because the higher blesses the lower. The lower doesn't bless, the higher blesses the lower, right? All right. So, okay. Anyway, that's just, I just love to think about that. Look at our book here and our questions. That's kind of what I've just been saying, but I'd like to know what you receive. What are the general circumstances described in the early verses of Hebrews 7? And again, compared to Genesis 14. Put that kind of in your words, what? Okay. Right. So, again, him, like we were just talking,